Good afternoon. It is 2 o'clock and I call to order the November 5th meeting of the Oklahoma City Water Utilities Trust. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of the October 22nd meeting. The minutes are in your packet. Are there any questions or comments regarding the minutes? Seeing none, is there a motion for approval? Motion second. And it passes. Next up, there's the consent docket. Number of items on the consent docket. Most noticeably, a lot of contract amendments for the engineering firms along the Atoka pipeline were several of the items, a couple of pricing agreements and a couple of other change orders. Are there any questions or comments or any items that the trustees would like to pull individually off the consent docket? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve? And it passes unanimously. The concurrent stocket has 4 items on it. All are concurrence items with the City of Oklahoma City. None of the 4 involve any AQUIT funds. Questions or comments regarding the concurrence docket? Seeing none, is there a motion for approval? And it passes unanimously. Next up is a emergency contract. This has to do with the removal of sludge at the, is it the Hefner treatment plant or is it both Hefner plants? Hefner. Is it Hefner?
Yes.
You want to tell us about that, Mr. Browning?
Absolutely. A few months back, we had a contract to remove some of the lime sludge in the lagoon at Hefner. We removed about $3 million in cost, which was a fair quantity. And we plan to remove the remainder through our solids handling facility. Unfortunately, the removal of that portion of the sludge caused a short circuit in the lagoon, and it caused the sludge entering the lagoon to pass through into the treatment process. So we had to execute an emergency to continue to remove that sludge. So we're doing another $3 million, and we believe that will buy us enough volume to where we can put together a contract and advertise that contract and bring in somebody to take out the remaining volume, which we believe is going to be somewhere about $12 million. But rather than have the whole amount in an emergency, we just put enough in there to slow down the short circuiting, and then we'll bid the project at a later date.
So you've got $18 million of lime sludge at Hefner?
Yes.
And where does it go?
What do you mean, where does it go?
Well, is it used for ag purposes? Is it
So
landfill?
we're drying it, and it is used for agricultural purposes.
Okay.
Same as if we were processing it through our solids handling facility.
So there's a value to it.
There is. The value doesn't.
Is that net of the 18 million, or is that?
No, the value just about covers the dewatering and hauling cost.
Okay.
So it's a wash.
I'm confused.
Okay, so when we dewater the sludge,
Uh-huh.
all right, our contractor through Infomark hauls it for us, and they provide it to the farmers for free. This is about the same thing. There's no net gain. So we're paying $3 million to remove it, but we're not getting any funds back.
We're not getting anything back.
No.
So the 18 million is net of any benefit.
Correct.
Okay.
So to put it in perspective, the pond that we had north of the plant that we cleaned several years ago was $15 million. So the dewatering and hauling is very expensive.
So on an annual, but we don't do it annually, but if we annualize the cost, what would it be on an annual basis?
I'll get you that information. I don't know right
All right.
now. But I do know that with the new the new lime system, we don't expect to generate anywhere near this much lime sludge in the future. And we should be able to manage that through the processing system that we have in place. In addition to removing this sludge, we plan to subdivide that lagoon into two parts where we can use one and maintain the other alternating, so we won't have the overload in the future. Right now, it's just a single cell, so we have to, dewater it when necessary and remove the sludge.
All right. Any other questions for Mr. Browning regarding the emergency? Seeing none, is there a motion for approval? And it passes. Items for individual consideration. We have different applications available, 4 different applications this morning. The first is for an ARPA request for $2 million for Deer Creek.
Yes, sir. This item is to accept and execute that grant from the American Rescue Plan for odor control at the Deer Creek wastewater treatment facility.
And this was the part of the city's allocation of ARPA funds?
No, this was an earmark from Representative Miller.
Oh, okay. Very good. So are there any questions regarding item 6A? Seeing none, is there a motion for approval? And it passes unanimously. Item B is $1 million for the Overholser Dam Spillway Project.
Yes, sir.
ARPA funds again.
We are in the process, we've completed the preliminary study, and we're in the process of the design for the 2 phases of the Overholser Dam upgrade. So one includes the concrete repair and stabilization. The other includes a different overflow system, which is a labyrinth. It is a historical site, so modifying the appearance of the dam would not be appropriate. So we're going to build a labyrinth and keep everything else in place. So it's 2 phases. So this $1 million it will go towards the design of the project.
And so again, this is state monies that come through the Water Resources Board?
Yes,
Or it's ARPA money
right.
given to the state, which then comes to the city?
Yes, this is not part of the city's ARPA
Okay.
allotment.
Questions about the allocation for Overholser Dam? Seeing none, is there a motion for approval? And it passes unanimously. Item C is the third ARPA project, and this is also from the federal dollars that go through the Water Resources Board. And this is $2 million for the North Canadian wastewater treatment facility.
This money will be used under the current construction at the North Canadian wastewater plant. So it is a $2 million grant.
Okay, any questions regarding the ARPA money for North Canadian? Seeing none, is there a motion for approval? And it passes. And the last item for individual consideration, item 6D, is a application with the Water Resources Board for financial assistance from the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund Loan Project for the purpose of lead service line replacement.
So during the process of identifying lead service lines, both on the city side and the customer side, we hired a contractor to pothole to verify our assumptions based on our tabletop evaluation. We did phase one, completed that. We were able to locate, or we were able to verify about 5,000 sites. This second loan, we'll do phase two of that project. And we are requesting a $1.25 million loan forgiveness under this request for funding.
Of that, you said 5,000?
Yes.
Of the 5,000, how many of those were service lines and how many of those were house lines?
Equal numbers. We just did both sides.
So if they had one, they generally had the other?
No, we just verified both sides. We potholed each side of the meter to verify the material.
Uh-huh.
And we found very few lead lines, to be honest, a couple of hundred. And so, and that's lead and galvanized. So this is another set. We had, if I remember correctly, about 15,000 based on field or on tabletop that could have been lead because of the dates those structures were built. So we're, instead of putting unknown in our report to the EPA, we're putting unverified, and then we're verifying accordingly.
Okay, I'm confused again. I thought you just said 5,000.
We potholed 5,000,
Okay,
2,500 sites with
okay.
two per site.
Right, one on the house line, one on.
Yes.
Okay, on the service line, but found very few?
Yes,
Okay, and this is for the replacement of those?
yes.
Okay,
This is to comply with EPA requirements on the modified lead and copper rule.
okay.
We were required to submit our findings last month. We did that. And there are a couple of classifications. And one of those is you know it's lead, or you know it's not lead, or you say it could be lead because of when it was built. And so we don't want to put unknown, we want to verify. So we're putting unverified, and then we're verifying.
Were those all in a generally geographically identifiable area of town?
Not necessarily. Some were concentrated, but they were concentrated in different parts of town.
Okay.
Now, the area that we're going into, again, there's a likelihood of lead because of the dates that the homes and buildings were built. So we're going to go through and do another verification.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Browning regarding the lead services? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve item 6D? And it passes. Items from trustees, anything this afternoon?
The only thing I'd like to say is I really want to thank Representative Nicole Miller for her efforts to provide us with ARPA grant funds for the Deer Creek wastewater. And I also want to thank the Oklahoma Water Resources Board for the funds they provided for the Overholser Dam, the North Canadian wastewater treatment. We really appreciate their efforts.
We do? We do. Other comments? All right, general manager reports.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a couple of things I want to report. First of all, City Council voted today to approve the rate adjustment. This was the final meeting. We had an initial presentation and then a public hearing, and then today was the consideration of the council, and they voted unanimously to approve the adjustments. So I want to thank Vanessa and her team who worked very hard to put this recommendation together, and we appreciate all your hard work. Also, I want to thank the rest of the team, Charity and her team, and the rest of the staff. Everything on this agenda takes a lot of effort, a lot of time to make sure that you all are well informed so that you can make an informed decision. And then I would like to give you a lake level report as well. As you all know, we requested a water release from Lake Canton. Hefner was about 7.5 feet below full pool. Canton was relatively full. We started the release last week before last. And then we had some conversations with the Corps about the potential for the rainfall that was predicted. And we all agreed that we would watch the predictions of the rainfall and adjust the releases accordingly so that we did not inundate the low-lying farmlands along the river. And so there were some adjustments made. The release equaled about 14,500 acre feet. We requested 16,000. And it was stopped Saturday evening when the big rains hit. And we will not request the remainder. Right now, Hefner is 3.2 feet below full pool, and so is Canton. So we accomplished our mission there. Draper is 4.8 feet below full pool. Atoka is almost full. It's less than a foot below full pool. It was 4.5 feet last week. And McGee Creek is 4.8 feet below full pool. It was 5.8 last week. We are putting together a storm damage assessment. We're able to get into those neighborhoods hit by the tornadoes. And we're doing the assessment now, and we will indicate through a map of which fire grid was impacted, either fully impacted or partially impacted, and we will collect the storm debris accordingly. Until we know the volume, we don't know the level of resources necessary, but we have an agreement with Waste Management to bring in additional resources. Now, the challenge we have is most of those resources are in the southeast right now, but we should be able to collect our normal trash and recycle and bulky in addition to picking up this storm damage. Now, we will not be able to collect construction material. That is not something that we can do. That would be something the homeowners would arrange through their insurance companies. We'll collect the trees, limbs, and wood fencing as we normally do. So we're in the process of putting that together, and we'll put out a map and an announcement to the public by the end of the week.
One quick question on the lake levels. Inflow continues, and do you have any estimate as to what the lakes might look like? At least Hefner and Draper won't change, or Draper won't change because that's all pumped. But any indication of what Hefner or Canton may look like by the end?
Canton is receiving some water, not as much as Hefner. We think Hefner may come up as much as another foot or so by the end of the stream flow coming in. So it's still running about 600 MGD.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Browning? I'm not aware of any citizens that have signed up to speak. No further business, therefore we are adjourned.